Hello and welcome to the SpiderNerd.com podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Weber, aka SpiderNerd, the webmaster of the site, and I've got a full panel with me today. That's right, we've got two co-hosts with me today. First up for the panel is Mr. James Markin.
Yep, guys. Yo, guys. Oh, damn. This is my third intro, dude, for you.
Yes, for pretty much everyone out there who doesn't know, this is our third time trying to record this podcast. First two times, Thomas wasn't even here, so we've been trying. James and I tried to record the show ourselves, and we epically failed. So now that we have a full panel, we're actually trying again. So, but James, after that horrible intro that you just did, we missed you last week. We haven't talked to you in about 2 weeks, so what have you been up to, man?
Like I said, not much. Just had a birthday party last week. That's why I couldn't be here. And this week, I've been busy getting my podcast ready because we got a live stream episode for the new Power Ranger premiere. Plus, we got news on the new season today, so it's pretty hectic and busy for me. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Angel Grove Radio is James's podcast, a Power Rangers podcast, which I actually listened to an episode of it this week, and I have to say I enjoyed it. I really did.
Well, thank you, man. I'm really glad you did. It means a lot.
Yes, I honestly enjoyed it. It was a fairly good show. I'm not the biggest Power Rangers fan anymore, but I'll admit I did enjoy the show. But I'm not going to watch the new Power Rangers season. I don't even know when it comes on, so.
It comes on this Saturday.
Well, that's convenient. I probably have to work. Yeah, but also today for the panel, thankfully, we have Mr. Thomas Patterson. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
No, I was just joking with you. I'm
here. You bastard.
I'm totally here, guys. How's it going?
I don't want to do a fourth one. Don't stop it.
I was gonna. No, I'm not stopping it. That's staying in the show. That was gold. Thomas, you were a bastard.
All right. I really am here, guys. How's it going?
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for showing up. I was literally spamming him with emails, just saying, "Dude, where the fuck are you?"
Oh man.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting. We've had an interesting last hour, James and I have, trying to get Thomas on the show. But what have you been up to this week, Thomas?
Well, let's see. I watched all the Super Bowl spots, and I had to deal with a whole bunch of people fanboying out over the Transformers Age of Extinction spot that I thought looked like crap, but whatever.
That movie doesn't need to exist. Just going to say that right now.
Exactly. What else? People were really happy about the
Captain. Didn't need to exist.
They were fanboying out about the Captain America 2 trailer, which admittedly was pretty good. I
liked it.
I did like that trailer.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, it's really good. It really convinced me. The last trailer I was kind of like on, but this one really convinced me to go see this movie. Like, I was gonna go see it anyway because it's a Marvel movie and I have to go see all Marvel movies now. But there was a point where I was,
indifferent. Oh, sorry, for interrupting you, man.
No, go ahead.
I liked the comic storyline when they introduced Winter Soldier, so to see it adapted onto the big screen, it's kind of awesome. But then again, being a fan and everything, the whole mystery that they're kind of building up with the trailers of who is the Winter Soldier. Well, if you read the comic, you already know who he is.
Yeah, but you kind of want to emulate that for the audience that doesn't read comic books.
I know. I just feel bad for somebody because I know I'm going to be fanboying during it going, oh my god, look at Bucky as him! What? It's his friend from the first movie? Oh, crap.
There are going to be like, I remember there were people that were watching it in YouTube, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to find out who the Winter Soldier is, and some comic book fan commented on it, it's Bucky Barnes, you idiot.
Poor naive people who don't read comics.
I know, that's so sad.
I would have spammed them so bad. I would have said trolled them the worst thing ever. I would have said like it's Batman or something.
Nah, we're just joking. It's Batman.
Yes. Because
and they would believe it. They would believe it too.
Probably, because they don't understand the difference between DC and Marvel. Although most comic book fans do, and then the ones that actually do understand the difference always ask me, when's Spider-Man going to join the Avengers?
Yeah.
He's not going to!
Yes, as much as that hurts us, Spider-Man's never joining the Avengers.
Well, he almost did kind of make a cameo in the movie, but something happened that didn't let it. Like, I think I remember hearing that in the first Avengers movie, they wanted...
The first Avengers movie, they were going to put Oscorp Tower in the skyline. And then
Yeah.
it didn't work because they ran out of time and the skyline was already rendered for the Avengers already. And they had to go through all the paperwork basically saying they could do this, just cameo. It would have been a lot of work. They might as well have just put Spider-Man in the movie by the time all the law process made it through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were filming Spider-Man at the same time, because if you couldn't get the skyline, you could have just had a 1-second scene where they bump into a nerdy-looking pre-spider bite Peter or something like that, or like one of them was walking down the street, and you see running away is Andrew Garfield or something, because then it's like, oh, look, there's Peter! And you don't even need a suit.
All I want them to do is to add a clause into each of their contracts where they can reference each other's movies, and then that's it. I don't want Spider-Man joining the Avengers. I just want them to be like in the same universe, so they'll just reference each other.
That would be nice.
That's it.
Like a comic book moment where he saves someone, he goes, well, I'm doing so great, I should join the Avengers or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Or be like the early Lee Ditko issues where he's constantly referencing the Fantastic Four or something.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I would like to have happen. Just references, and I'm pretty sure that'd be an easier legal process to do than to like add parts to the skyline or whatever. Probably be easier just to do like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
Just a name drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, just name drop. Exactly. So I'm hoping that they can do that. It's probably a lot easier. Although a lot of them have basically been saying, we have no need to do that. And I'm like, yes, you do. You do. Okay?
All right. Well, as for myself this week, let's see. What have I been doing? I've been buying and reading comics. Really, that's it. I got work tonight, so, I have a job, thankfully. So, thankfully, I've got something to do tonight. So, the fun thing about working where I work is because I work at a brewery, but it's a brewery / restaurant. It's like, it's weird. But what I do is I'm in the back of the kitchen washing dishes. But what I say to everyone is like when they ask me, "Oh, what are you doing Saturday night?" I'm like, "Going to a bar."
That's gotta be awesome.
And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yep, I work at one." They're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Yeah, I just fooled you, you son of a bitch."
Yeah, I got some bad news for you guys. When you guys get to be my age, 23, that becomes not really that big anymore. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to the bar tonight. So?
Yeah.
Well, you're not such a badass.
Yeah. But
I remember being your guys' age. Wow, I get to be in a bar for the first time tonight. Now it's like, do I really want to go to a bar? All that driving, I'll just stay home.
Just stay home.
Yeah. It's like gas money, the price of gas today.
Wisconsin, where it won't stop snowing.
I know. Honestly, it was negative 22 with wind chill yesterday morning where I live.
Oh, jeez.
I kid you not. I think the news was trolling yesterday because they said starting next week it's going to start being in the 40s and going up, and then today it's like, nope, still in the negatives and snow.
Yeah, that's what they said for my where I live too, because apparently it's supposed to start being in the 40s next week, but yeah, we'll see if that happens because it was about 4 degrees last night when I left work.
Ugh. See, it's been getting warmer, but it was really cold this week. Like I don't think it got above 0 this Wednesday, but it's been going up. It's been heating up. I think it's like 35 degrees outside right now.
I think it's like 12 degrees where I live.
I think it's like negative 12 where I live.
Yeah, it's welcome to winter. Global warming my ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some people,
let's keep in mind that this is climate, not weather. So weather is very different than climate. Climate is altogether over like 25 years.
I know.
It's like, no disrespect to any of our fans in Georgia or anything, but like when you see those news reports about how people were snowed in from their schools, and it's like, dude, I used to walk to school in that. That was nothing. I wish I would get school called off for that.
I know. Yeah. It's like they get a dusting and the entire town shuts down. It's like, can I have that, please?
Yeah. I felt the same way too because we got like what? I think we got like 10 inches of snow and they didn't call it off.
Oh, I know. The same thing happened to me.
Guys, Guys, true story. We had this really bad blizzard going on here in Wisconsin where I lived, and they didn't call off school because there was a slight chance that after school for a half hour it might stop snowing for a half hour, and they didn't call off school. So yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But getting off of the weather topic, we got a few bits of housekeeping that I do want to take care of this week. Well, I want to take care of it, and I'm going to have Thomas talk about a little thing here. So, Thomas, why don't we talk about your thing first? You've been fairly busy in terms of SpiderNerd this week.
Yes. Jonathan asked me on Sunday if I could start up a YouTube channel for the site, and so I did start up a YouTube channel for the site because that's because I'm really good at like doing YouTube and handling all that stuff. So we launched our new YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/user/thespaidernerds.
Yes, and go check that out. I think we got about 5 subscribers right now, somewhere around there. We got 2 videos up, and if you want to see Thomas break down one of the extended trailers we're talking about today, I'd recommend going and checking that out. It's a fairly good video, and I gotta say, you do not look anything like what I thought you did.
Yeah, I can kind of tell that a lot of people would have been surprised about that. Yep. I had one person online tell me that he thought I was black.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You don't sound black to me, and I don't mean to stereotype, but seriously.
No. I didn't talk to him, but just like on like boards with just words, he thought I was black. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
But
he
yes,
thought I looked like Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, Thomas started up a YouTube channel for us, so I'd recommend going and checking that out. We're gonna have some. Thomas, do you want to tell them what kinds of videos they can expect from that channel?
I don't want to give too much away right now. As of right now, I'm doing breakdowns and that kind of stuff. I don't want to really get too much into news. Too much. I feel like enough channels do that. But we're gonna have some really cool stuff coming up as soon as I can get it out, and I would actually like to announce it on the official channel when that comes out. But some very cool stuff. Be sure to check it out.
All right, so we got that, and also something happened with our website yesterday. Something big. And Thomas made a video about it because I asked him to. But yesterday, we got our 10,000th hit for our website. For a first-year site, that's pretty freaking badass, I have to say. The fact that we've gotten 10,000 hits in under a year, in under 9 months, so that's actually under 3/4 of a year. The fact that we've gotten that many hits in that little amount of time is honestly astonishing to me, and it's absolutely blowing my mind that we did. And I said thank you in the video that I embedded to the front page, but I want to say it again here. Thank you to everyone who's come to the site, read the reviews, read the news articles, listened to the podcasts, all that stuff. I really just want to thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, James.
It's all me. Your 10,000 hits for all me on different computers.
Yes. But I do just want to thank everyone out there who's helped us get to that goal. That's a really big, that's a really big accomplishment for a first-year site. So I'm very, very happy about that. All right, so with that little bit of housekeeping done, we got a lot to talk about this week. We've got news stories, and we've got technically 3 trailers to talk about.
Ooh.
Yes, and I will admit this on the air. Thomas and I, last week, we didn't talk about part 1 of the Super Bowl because I was stupid and I thought that they were going to air that part of the trailer with what they actually aired in the game. So I thought it was going to be like a minute-long thing because they said specifically this is the first half of the Super Bowl spot. So I honestly thought that was going to air during the game, so that would have made it next week's news, but it actually didn't, and they just aired part 2, so I felt like a complete idiot. And we could have talked about it last week, but we would have made that show even longer. So we'll just talk about it here. So I apologize to Thomas and anyone who was looking for that. That was totally my fault. That was just me being stupid.
Yes, it was.
Thank you very much. It's what I'm good at, honestly. It's like, I'm sure these two are constantly like, ugh, my host is a dumbass.
No, just that one time.
Yeah, I thought that when I listened to your guys' podcast when you go over the top 10 artists and writers, and you guys didn't know who Paul Jenkins was. Because his Spider-Man run in Sensational in the 90s was when I first got into Spider-Man. So I'm like, what are you talking about? My first Spider-Man comic was written by him.
I'm sorry, I haven't read that much outside of Amazing Spec and Web of. Web of.
What was that?
Web of Spider-Man.
Repeat that, please.
Ironically, his series replaced Web of Spider-Man in the 90s.
Yes, Web of Spider-Man. Say that 10 times fast.
Web of Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man.
That was only 3.
I'm not doing it 10 times. That's ridiculous.
Whatever. So yeah, we got 2 parts of the Super Bowl trailer this week, and we also got an extended 3.5-minute trailer that also debuted on Super Bowl Sunday. So we've got a fair amount of movie news to talk about this week. So I'll just pose the question right now. What do you guys want to start with, Super Bowl trailers or the extended trailer?
Super Bowl.
All right. James, you agree with that?
Well, being that I picked that in our other recordings, then yeah, I do.
All right. Yes. We actually got about a half hour into our other recordings, and then Thomas showed up, and we were just like, fuck this.
I'm seriously right now trying to think back and remember everything I said.
And just so that you can repeat it.
Something about me going on a tangent about the Denver Broncos losing the Super Bowl, but that's about it.
Yeah, we spent a good 5 minutes just talking about the Super Bowl.
Dude, this isn't a sports podcast. Stay off of the topic of sports.
Well, I had to. It's a Super Bowl trailer.
Yeah, James is a huge...
You don't have to. You don't have to.
James is a huge football fan.
I had to get it off my chest, man. I was upset. The Broncos, every other Super Bowl, get killed by 50 points, except the one year they play us. I'm sad.
All right.
I just want the Packers to win so bad next time, please.
All right.
They will, man. They will.
Let's get back on the topic of Spider-Man here. We got Super Bowl trailer part 1. I actually have it pulled up on my iPad. It's on mute, so you can't hear it. But basically, a basic description of this trailer. I think James put it best in our last recording. Random clips thrown together to advertise a movie. Isn't that what you said, James?
I think you're a little bit of... Yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said in our previous attempt at recording this. Because a lot of just random stuff is thrown into this first part of the Super Bowl ad here, and I gotta say it's fairly badass. But we'll give our general thoughts on the first part of the Super Bowl ad here. So Thomas, we'll start with you since we didn't really get to talk to you about it on our previous attempt at recording, which we should probably stop referencing, but whatever. We didn't get to talk to you before. So Thomas, what are your thoughts on part 1 of the Super Bowl teaser? What are your overall thoughts?
Just part 1?
Just part 1, yes.
Okay. Part 1 I felt was amazing when I saw it and everything, and you just kind of get this huge all these clips, and yeah, it's just a whole bunch of clips thrown together, but it's thrown together so well and edited so well that it looked like one of the best pieces of marketing I've seen for a film in quite a while. I remember going on Comic Book Movie, which you should never do if you are a fan of this franchise, because all they do is pick it apart. But they had part 1 listed on there, and then there were people that hated it. They're like, even the worst people on that site were basically like, cool trailer, movie's still gonna suck. But they still said the trailer was cool. So the trailer was, I don't think anyone could argue that it looked bad, and everything about it looked really good. And there were a few new shots in there, but most of it was just recycled footage that we've already seen before. But still, I thought it was beautifully edited. And then the cliffhanger at the end kind of got me interested.
Yes, and we'll talk about that as we go through it. But James, your thoughts on the part 1 of the Super Bowl teaser?
I liked it. It was pretty good. Like I said, it's random clips thrown together. but they're random awesome clips thrown together.
Yes.
And I agree with you, what you said in our earlier recording about the Electro part, and I'll let you talk more about that when it's your turn. So I'll just stop right here and just say, check it out, people. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, it really is fairly sweet. And I gotta say, when I first saw this clip, I wasn't too enthusiastic about it. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything, but I was like, oh yeah, it's another clip. You know, a lot of it's recycled footage. Then I watched it again, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It was kind of like Iron Man 3 for me, but I was like, yeah, this clip pretty much freaking rocks on pretty much every level. I absolutely adored this clip. But as we go through the actual clip itself, we get an opening part with Electro saying, you wanted to be the hero, now you gotta pay the price. The way he delivered that line and the effect they put on it was absolutely fantastic.
I absolutely agree. I think a lot of people were very skeptical over Jamie Foxx playing Electro at the beginning. He looks awesome. There is no denying that he's probably going to be one of the best parts about the movie, and it's not going to be, I doubt it's going to be as good as Heath Ledger's Joker, but Jamie Foxx's Electro will probably be up there with one of the best villain performances I've seen in the film. He just looks like he's going to, he even says that he wanted him to be serious. There were a few lines in the movie he didn't think he should say because they came across too cheesy. He wanted him to be mad and serious all the time, and that sounds like a perfect way to make a villain that's going to fight someone as non-serious and bantery as Spider-Man is.
Yeah. I don't want too many... Wasn't that shocking, Spider-Man? Oh!
I see what you did there. The essence of comedy at work. Yeah, that line when he uttered that sent chills up my spine. I was like, Electro is going to be a badass in this movie, and it's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely think he's just given off that vibe of a villain who's, basically out to just kill this guy.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
But as we move on, we get another pretty awesome shot of Spider-Man leaping over a police car, grabbing a manhole, and deflecting missiles. When I first saw that shot, I was like, oh, baby, that's awesome.
That's what I was thinking, too. It felt very actually Captain America to me, except it was a lot more improvised, so which made it even more awesome. And then on top of that, Spider-Man's my favorite character, so again, even more awesome. So
that part was pretty Spider-Man, because I can see him in the comics just webbing up a manhole, catching it, and then using it as a shield.
Yeah. I remember. I'll have to talk about that later, actually, but I have an idea about the manhole thing. Just kind of going along with that eventually. But that comes in part 2, actually.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, this shot to me, just the way he moved, just the way he just jumps over the car, does a forward barrel roll, webs the manhole, and just deflects the missiles, I was just like, yes! Yes!
It does feel very Spider-Man to me, and I feel like this movie has basically done an even better job than the first one did at just kind of bringing what the kind of movements that we think he should do into a film, and just basically bringing this character to life in a way that all of the other movies preceding it failed at it.
He feels like Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll say this: I love the way he moved in the first movie. I mean, that scene of him in the sewers on the web was absolutely fantastic in terms of movements.
I thought the school scene where he's like dodging all the stuff from him was very Spider-Man to me as well.
That was those two scenes were absolutely fantastic, and I loved I love basically everything about the first movie, as I said on our very first podcast with Ed Jones. But this movie is. I agree with Thomas. It really does look like it's even taking a step above that in terms of Spider-Man movements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I definitely think that, getting past the origin, they can spend more time with him, actually doing those things instead of focusing too much on the origin, like how he got his powers and stuff, which isn't a bad thing, considering that they're doing a completely different take on the origin and everything that was involved with it. I just think that it's good that they can finally get away from that because I feel like that actually hurt the film with a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, the origin was the worst part of the movie." I don't necessarily agree, but
I would have changed. The only thing I would change with the origin would be the whole him fighting the guy's killer. I felt like he should have found him, and then you move past that, moving on to the threat of Lizard. And now they're like, okay, now they're building up just for a sequel and finding the guy when really the burglar is not really that important in Spider-Man's lore after he shoots Uncle Ben.
Well, I heard a rumor based on the video game that they're probably going to make Uncle Ben's killer Cletus Cassidy so that they can bring Cletus Cassidy in as Carnage eventually.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that.
I think that'd be awesome.
Well, of course you would, but whatever.
Wait, what are you talking about?
They're going to need to do Venom first before they get the Carnage.
Oh, absolutely, but I am definitely looking forward to Carnage. He's probably one of my favorite villains.
Yes, he is a good villain. I have Amazing 362 and 363 in my collection. I'm missing 361, so I've been trying to track that issue down for a good price.
I have all three.
But then I realized, oh shit, my paycheck ran out.
Oh yeah.
That
always sucks.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, basically we got that shot, and I gotta say that was pretty badass. It really was. But then after that, we don't really get too many new shots. We get a new shot of Spider-Man shooting a web, which looks like it's at the power plant. Nothing really too big to talk about there. We get a few shots of Electro, a few shots of Harry, Peter. But then Peter says, nothing is what I thought it was. And, take that for what you will. We don't know the exact context of that yet, so I don't know if you guys have any...
I think it's after he finds out about Richard Parker and all the Oscorp stuff that is going on, and it looks like in the background you actually see a flag, one of the school flags that's behind Gwen on the website. So I think Gwen actually might have gone off somewhere to get ready for college.
Okay. I don't see a flag. I'm looking
at ESU when she meets a certain professor.
Where do you see a flag? I see a window.
There's a flag. There is a flag in the background.
Oh, I see it. No, she's blocking it. Yeah, I see it. I see it. I don't know. Maybe that's hinting at something, but yeah, Gwen Stacy, gorgeous even from behind. Wow, that's blowing my mind.
But you're shocked an attractive girl is attractive?
Yeah, but other than that, there's really not much else to talk about with this trailer except for the ending shot, which I know Thomas has theories on, so I'm going to let him lead the conversation about this little ending shot here with Spider-Man catching a falling Gwen.
I think they just gave away their fake out. I think they just totally gave away their fake out. If there was one problem I had with this, they just gave it away completely. When it goes into part 2, I guess we can talk about that in a little bit, but I can tell just by the context of the shots from part 2 that they just gave away their fake out, and that she's actually going to die. It's just they just gave away their fake out.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier that they're basically spoiling this because they know that everyone is going to be expecting it. They're like, okay, everyone knows Gwen's going to die in the movie. Let's acknowledge it, but not through words. Let's just basically put it in the trailers that she's going to die. And we'll talk about a certain shot from the extended trailer as we get into that. But basically, this is basic official confirmation that Gwen's going to die.
Well, okay, I'll talk about that when we get to part 2, but I think this is actually just a fake out, and that this is just basically to give people a false sense of security so that in a little while she'll die because Peter gets too overconfident about the fact that he can save her each time, and then he snaps her neck, and then she's dead.
You make it sound like he did it on purpose. He did something and then he snapped her neck.
I know, he does something. Oh, he snaps her neck. It's just like, oh yeah, I just woke up, made myself some breakfast, snapped a neck, went to work.
I didn't mean to make that sound matter of fact. I'm just trying to say that that's kind of what happens in the comics, and he was always and he did get very overconfident. I just think there's no better way to make him overconfident than to have him save her once already in the same context of her falling.
I'm not arguing with you that this is going to be a fake out, because honestly, there's no doubt in my mind that this is their fake out. There's really no doubt in my mind.
I think it's to lure people that think that non-comic fans that think she's going to die, and it's basically in the movie to lure comic fans into thinking she's probably not going to die, and then she does.
Yeah, they could not make it any more obvious that she's going to die. They could not make it any more obvious. Yeah. It's like they're basically trying to get everyone in here, trick them all in some way, and then not really surprise us with the Gwen death. That's really how it's going down.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that it's just... I think it's kind of funny that they gave away their fake out, though. I definitely didn't expect that to go in the marketing, for them to just give away their fake out. I was actually really hoping they were just going to leave their fake out in the movie, because by giving away their fake out, it just basically makes us certain that she's going to die. Whereas if I think it was in the movie theater and you didn't have time to think about it, everything's just happening, like the fight between him and Green Goblin and stuff, I don't think you would consider the fact that she's probably going to die in just a little bit. So I feel like it's kind of a mistake to give away that fake out, because I feel like it ruins the experience.
I'm calling it. Oh,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm calling it right now. What's going to happen is Harry, as the Goblin's going to drop her from something high. Peter does the save, the glass. He webs her. He makes the save, and he takes like a sigh of breath of relief. And Harry in the glider comes in, snaps the rope. She starts to fall again. He shoots the web again, and just like in the comics, catches her by the leg, crunch, pulls her back up, dead.
Snap. Just like in the comics, snap. No, it's like they make it like the '60s Batman cartoon. They just put that little effect in there. Snap.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a little bit different than that. Just based on the context of the shot, one of the shots that we see in Enemies Unite, but we'll talk about that trailer later. So you guys want to move on to part 2?
Absolutely. I was actually just going to segue into that. So, James, since we let Thomas go first on part 1, I'm going to let you go first on part 2. What are your overall thoughts on part 2 of the Super Bowl spot?
It's pretty good, man. I'm rewatching it right now as we speak. In fact, and besides for the opening being the kind of the giveaway, everything else made me go crazy when I saw this in the Super Bowl. I mean, you got Rhino, you got the Doc Ock kind of, cameo tease that they have in there. And then you have Harry on the glider, which confirmed to a lot of people I know who didn't believe me that the Goblin's in the movie. Oh my God, he's in the movie too. And of course, you get the one really cool shot of him where he's with Aunt May and she comes into the room and then he's like, I was just cleaning the, what was it?
The chimney.
Yeah, I'm cleaning the chimney, Aunt May. Peter, we don't have a chimney. What?
That's a fantastic moment. I watched I was watching the Super Bowl with my parents, and that commercial came on. Every single person in our house laughed out loud when Peter said, "What?"
No, I think my family was just annoyed because every 5 seconds I was like, "The Goblin, Gwen's death, Doc Ock, Electro, Aunt May." It was like that, literally.
Peter Parker. No.
Bird. Plane.
Halfway
John,
through that, I was
James.
halfway through it, I was just doing it just to troll them. I think just to annoy them because they were staring at me if I did the first one, so I just kind of went overboard on it.
Yeah.
Especially when I got to Aunt May. Oh my God, it's Aunt May because she's been in every movie.
Oh my gosh, it's Sally Field.
Yeah, she was in the first movie. But I definitely think that, like, the humor that he has going on with Aunt May, I feel like she's going to be given mostly a very classic role, if not classic, then a role similar to what we see in the Ultimate Comics, where she's basically on to him in some way, and he'll come up with lame excuses that she kind of sees through.
Yeah, but so James, overall, you liked part 2?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, what else can I say? It gave away some really cool thoughts that I thought that they wanted in the trailer, like the little shot where you see the vulture wings and the Doc Ock tentacles. That was something I thought they wouldn't show here, but
I do actually want to talk about that when we get into it. But yeah,
like I said, I'm speechless because there's no words to describe just how awesome these trailers have been.
All right, Thomas, overall thoughts on part 2?
I gotta be completely honest, I didn't think it was as good as part 1.
Good, then I'm not the only one.
I thought that part 2 was basically just like this extended spot to advertise the 3.5-minute trailer, which kind of devoids it of any real, like substance or meaning in it. And I mean, like, I obviously like it. I'm just saying that it just kind of came across as an advertisement for an advertisement.
I was okay with it because most people who are watching the Super Bowl, average Joe football fan reading a comic book doesn't really add up. So I was okay with it because it gave away what you need to give away to the average Joe football fan who's watching this trailer during the Super Bowl. Of, okay, here it is. He's fighting Jamie Foxx, who's Electro. It has a humor with Aunt May. It has the action with all these villains. Go see this movie. It had all the main parts that if you were going to sell somebody who's not a comic book fan, it had everything right there.
You know what? My overall thoughts on this part of the trailer, I do have to agree with Thomas. I did not think it was as good as part 1. I felt it was still a fairly solid trailer, but I did feel that, honestly, if they were going to show something during the Super Bowl, they probably should have shown part 1, because part 2 is a little bit underwhelming for me. But I will not disagree with James that we did get some really cool shots in here.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying that I think part 1 was better in terms of just the editing, the music, everything that was used. You wanted to be the hero, now you got to pay the price. Just that kind of overall just feeling that you got from watching it. I felt like it would have been a better thing to put in the Super Bowl and then see what happens next by going to enemiesunite.com.
Yes, or they could have just flipped it and said, okay, you know what? Make part 2 part 1 or whatever, and well, that wouldn't have made any sense. But had they just done a little bit of different editing, maybe made part 1 the Super Bowl clip and part 2 the clip that we got on Entertainment Tonight the week before, that would have been okay with me. I'll be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I think that I would have rather been underwhelmed at first because I didn't really know what to expect. I probably would have been like, wow, this trailer's awesome. But then after experiencing the awesomeness of part 1, I was underwhelmed by part 2. So I feel like if you flipped it around, I would have been like, oh my god, this Super Bowl spot is so awesome. Just throughout that thing. But, whatever.
It really is. But as we start going through it here, we get the same shot of Spider-Man catching Gwen again. Basically nothing we didn't see in part 1.
Dead.
Except, I noticed that when he's falling to catch her, that's the same shot that we saw in the trailer. I think that's actually where she's going to die. I don't think that is from the same shot of them falling through the glass. That's a completely different shot. That's actually when he's going to catch her by the foot and kill her. And then she gets caught, and then it goes back to that same her falling, and then I guess Peter loses her, and then he catches her with his web, but she dies in the other shot where he's on the gear.
Wait, so you think she's gonna die when she catches the web by the hand?
No.
Wait.
No, I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was confusing me too, because in that part you can see her breathing and looking up to him. It's kind of the opposite of dead.
No. I'm saying that the shot where he catches her and the shot where he webs on top of the gear are two completely different scenes.
I know.
The shot where he falls in through and then he lets her go, and then when he catches her with the web on the hand is part of the same scene as the previous one, but the shot of him, webbing on the top of the gear is the scene where she's gonna die later.
Oh, I think I see what you're saying, but I'm still kind of confused.
I'm trying to say that. So like the first shot where like they're falling through the glass, that's one scene, and then where he jumps down on top of that gear and webs down towards something, that's another scene, and then when he catches her by the hand, that's actually part of the scene where they fall through the glass.
Okay. Now I'm understanding you more, because I was gonna say, didn't we just talk about this in part 1? Now you have a completely different theory. But no. Okay, I
don't want to make you feel bad or anything, but I'm just rewatching it now. Keep rewinding it. The webbing looks like it's the same angle and everything. That's when she catches it.
Yeah, but if you notice that stuff is falling when she gets caught by the hand, but stuff isn't falling when he's like webbing onto her, when he's webbing off of the gear. It's two completely different shots, and they're two different things. When they're falling, you can see just like this tunnel that goes down, and there's no gears. And then you can see when Gwen falls, it's just a tunnel straight down. So it's part of the same thing, whereas where Peter is, where she dies, there's a whole bunch of gears and stuff.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. To me, I have to agree with James. I really don't. No offense, Thomas, but I don't think you're right. I really don't.
Hold on. Let me pull it up. Super Bowl Part 2. No, I put Part 1 in. That's not right. 2. Okay, Part 2. Let me see this. I'm going to turn the volume all the way down.
I'm literally just keep on re-clicking the button on YouTube just for that whole shot.
Okay, all right. So you see the glass is shattered when they fall.
Yes,
and,
I see that.
Okay, and then the glass is completely... There's no glass falling when he's webbing down. So that's already like continuity issue. And then the glass is falling again when Gwen is getting caught, and all the stuff on top of it with all the gears are falling. Yeah, but that's not happening when he's.
I got it. I had 4 seconds. I got to pause, and if you look up by the moon, it looks like around it stuff are falling, unless that's the web.
That's the web.
That's the web.
That's the web.
If you see when they like go through the glass, you'll see a whole bunch of like gears or whatever, kind of like steel stuff going down, and you don't see that when he webs her. And then when you see her hand get caught, there's a whole bunch of stuff falling down again.
You know what? I'm actually starting to see what you're saying here, Thomas. I actually am.
There's a whole bunch of continuity issues here.
Well, maybe it's just editing for the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, like it. I think that's what it is. I'm just saying that there's too much continuity issues, like with the actual scene itself, to actually be the scene that we'll see in the movie.
Oh, no doubt. But I do actually. I'm actually starting to see what you're saying here. Yeah, I could see how they are the same shot. I really could.
Yep, and so it's just the gear thing, I think, is where she's actually going to die. That's the second scene.
It's possible, but would they do their fake out and the actual death so close together?
Yes, they would.
Because my only problem with that...
Because then I think it also lures everybody into a false sense of security on top of that.
My only problem with that is he shoots the web, once, and he catches her, and she catches it and looks, and then something happens and she falls again on the gear, and he has to web her, and she dies this time. It's like you're being kind of redundant if it's constantly...
Well, I think that's the whole point, is to be redundant, but to basically be lured into a false sense of security, into the fact that they wouldn't do it again, and then they do it again, and then you're like, what?
Yeah, it's weird. If that is the actual death scene, that could be interesting, but I mean, I've literally rewatched this like 5 seconds of the trailer like literally 20 times in the past 5 minutes.
I'm doing that too, man. You're not the only one.
I'm trying to figure out what Thomas is saying, and I'm getting it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he could be right, but I honestly don't think they'd put their fake out and the actual death in the same scene. I honestly don't think they would.
Okay, alright, I'm calling it now that it will be, and then when the movie comes out and we do our review, I just want to be able to say I told you so.
Alright.
I reserve the right.
Alright, you know what, Thomas, you can tell me, if that actually happens, you can point everyone to this episode. Jonathan was wrong.
I was right.
Yes, as it normally happens. All right, back to the trailer. We get basically no new shots for the next 5 seconds. But there is one shot that's reused that I want to talk about. They show the scene of the man in the shadows, which is Michael Massey.
Yeah.
He walks past the Doc Ock and Vulture Arms. They show that shot again. That kind of makes me think that might be more than just an Easter egg.
I actually think it is just an Easter egg. They're just like giving away their Easter egg. And I think that this scene, a lot of people are actually speculating that this scene is a part of the end credit scene. And if it is, then I think that there was this one rumor I heard, and nobody was really going to like this if it ends up being true. I'm not going to like it if it ends up being true, but there was this one rumor where he's actually walking toward Norman Osborn's head as contained in a cryogenic chamber, and he says, "Wake up, my friend. It's just his head."
Oh yeah, I heard that rumor. That is stupid as hell.
Oh my god, I will scream in the movie theater if that actually ends up being true.
I will get up and leave the theater. Do you know why? Because the movie will be over, because that'll be the end credits scene.
I will scream right there out the spot, because that would make me so mad.
Oh,
Like,
why would it make you
I am
mad?
guaranteeing that this is going to be like one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen. Actually, the best Spider-Man movie I've seen. And then if they ruin it with that, I am going to be so mad. I am going to be so mad.
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to have it being Norman like that. What I think it could be more, though, is he's walking past all of these. If that is the end credit scene, it's him walking past all these Easter eggs, other villains, and then he's in a room with 6 other guys, and he goes, "Mr. Osborn has a plan for you guys," and then boom, it sets up Sinister Six.
It sets up Amazing Spider-Man 3.
I'm thinking that this might actually not end up being the end credit scene. That it might actually be in the movie with Michael Massey just visiting Norman Osborn, and that the end credit scene could actually be Michael Massey actually going to Peter Parker and telling him that he has plans for him.
We have plans for you, Peter Parker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that was even in the Super Bowl spot, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. But moving on from that, we got not really much. We got a cool shot of the Goblin and Spider-Man, coming face to face. I'm hoping that's kind of their first meeting.
I think it is. Yeah.
And if
there's Gwen right behind him.
Yeah, I noticed. I was just going to point that out.
Oscorp Power behind him, so it's at a power plant. And I think this actually takes place. Wait, his costume's not ripped up.
No, it isn't. I don't see any rips.
Yeah, and we see his costume all ripped up when he catches Gwen, and it's during the day, so I'm guessing that he probably actually ends up fighting Electro first, and he has to leave Gwen there with Green Goblin.
Wait, why would he leave Gwen with the Green Goblin?
Oh, no, what he does is he takes her away from Green Goblin, and then webs her hand to the car, and then goes after Electro, takes down Electro, and then Green Goblin finds her again. So he fights Green Goblin twice. He fights him here, and then he'll go and web Gwen's hand to the car after he saves her, and then he's gonna go fight Electro. He takes down Electro, and then Green Goblin's gonna find Gwen, and then drop her again, and then he's gonna drop her again after that, and then she's gonna.
Do you
die.
see how your idea's falling apart there? Okay,
No.
Electro does something to her, then Spider-Man webs her to a car, then she gets kidnapped, then he drops her, then he drops her again, then she's dead.
No. It may seem redundant, but I guarantee that it's going to happen that way. I can
I know
guarantee
she's
it
gonna
right now.
She's gonna die, but if that happens, that's gonna be the worst day ever.
I got dropped twice.
And went to a car.
I got dropped twice, and Peter saved me once, and then couldn't save me again. That would actually make him feel like more of a failure if you think about it, because he didn't get her out of there the first time.
Actually, it looks like it could be night, because I got it paused right now, and it's pretty dark.
I do have it paused, but it looks like it's day.
Yeah, it looks like it's day. I got to agree with
It's like
Thomas.
they're inside a building, though. It looks like they're inside.
No. The little if you see the little pillars in the background, if you look at the first trailer, Spider-Man's actually going through those with Electro, and they're actually outside. And it's at night. And you see the bridge in the background.
Yeah, so honestly, I think this is outside. I think it's daytime too.
Yep.
But moving off from that shot, we don't really get much of anything else new in this trailer. We get a scene of Peter and Gwen forcefully making out. Andrew Garfield, the lucky bastard.
and then Spider-Man dragging the manhole. I'd actually like to bring this up.
Yes.
This is a completely different shot. They re-edited it and everything.
See,
they re-CGI'd and everything.
Here's the thing. This may not be the same shot.
What? It looks like the exact same thing. And it looks like he's in the exact same pose. I think they found that the physics were wrong, or maybe they just took what everyone was saying, that it looks like a video game, and just took that to heart and decided to re-edit it.
It's possible. It is possible, but
it looks exactly the same, except for Spider-Man just webbing the manhole instead of carrying it with his hand.
I gotta say, I actually do kind of like the webbing of the manhole better, because that looks more badass.
Yeah, I like that one better than the holding it.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty badass.
Mm.
But James, do you have any thoughts on this little manhole shot here?
If the rumors that fans want of him joining the Avengers, that could be him trying to get in Captain America: The Good Side.
Hey, everyone's denying it now, and then the fact that everyone's denying it now just goes to show that the chances are even higher, because movie producers lie when they're getting what they want.
Yeah.
Remember, Avi Arad was all about it after the first Amazing Spider-Man, and now he's like, no. So he's lying now. Oh, I'm just joking. I'm giving people hope when there is none.
Yeah.
He was the same guy who, during the promotion of the first movie, said, "No, this isn't reboot. This is a movie in between 2 and 3."
No, I think it was between 1 and 2, right? I thought it was 1 and 2.
He said something. He said something. It's a high school setting, dude. With Gwen.
It's like, dude, this clearly is a reboot.
Yeah. He's like, it's not a reboot. It's actually still taking place in the same universe. I'm like, what? You lost all respect from me, man.
Explain that away.
Yeah, exactly. And then Mark Webb's like, no, it's a reboot.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with
everyone's like, Avi Arad, you're an idiot.
But we wanted to make new Spider-Man movie that was like other Spider. I can't even do his accent that good. I apologize.
Yeah, Avi Arad, he's an interesting guy. But we don't really have anything else to talk about Super Bowl spot, so we'll just do our final thoughts on both parts combined. So, Thomas, final thoughts on final thoughts on parts 1 and 2 of the Super Bowl trailer.
I think that together they're rather good. They're not great and they're not mediocre. I think they're just good marketing material. I think that Sony's trying to pull out all the stops with this movie, which is really good. I'm not going to lie and say that it's bad that they're trying to market this movie really well, but I think they're really hoping for Iron Man 3 level success with this movie. I really think they are. Not even Avengers success. I think that might be a little too high, but I think they're aiming for like Iron Man 3 level success.
Yeah.
My sum up will be kind of shorter. Mine is, if this was a firework, it would be an explosion of awesome.
Yes.
I gotta admit, it's not a lot of stuff. It's like a popcorn movie, like a explosion action film. This is what I feel about these two spots. They're all there just to hype you up to go, oh man, that's awesome. Gotta go see that again. No substance, just all meat.
Well, I'm thinking there actually might be some good amount of substance with his parents and his parents actually being behind creating all these in some way, behind creating all these villains and himself in particular. And it's just gonna. I think there's actually. I heard from Shailene Woodley during Comic-Con that like they interviewed her about getting cut off. She's like, this is one of the best scripts that I've read for a movie, and for it to be a Spider-Man movie like that, it's truly amazing.
Well, yeah, but what actor or actress that was in a movie?
But she wasn't in the movie. She has no reason to lie about that anymore.
If she wants to be in sequels at the time, she would.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like Andrew Garfield said the same thing.
Technically, she is in the movie. Because there's like that 1 second.
Oh, I think she could say that, like, it has a really good story, but I think that it's a little overboard to say it's one of the best ones I've ever... Actually, she said it was the best one I've ever read, and for it to be a
But you
Spider-Man
said
movie.
she was at a convention. You just said right there she was at a convention filled with
To
Spider-Man
promote her
fans.
Divergent film.
Well, still though, that's full of Spider-Man fans. They asked her a question. She's not going to say something that's going to piss them off.
No, but she could just say that it's a really good story. She doesn't have to go too overboard with it.
I don't know.
I think she would.
I honestly...
Any actor would. Unless you're William Dafoe, who completely shit on the...
Or James Franco.
What did James Franco say?
You didn't hear what James Franco said?
No, I heard the Dafoe thing, but I didn't hear about...
How did you not hear what Franco... Franco just tore this movie apart. Franco tore the first one apart.
Well, so did Dafoe.
Yeah,
I guess I only heard about Dafoe.
No, but Franco was almost worse.
Yeah, he was. And Franco was way earlier.
Yeah, Franco was talking about how the Amazing Spider-Man is like, how come they can't come up with their own ideas? How come they're just reusing what we already had?
Oh, did you say that? I think I remember hearing it once, but I just probably tuned it out like whatever, dude. So that's why it took you guys actually explaining it for me to remember.
Yep.
Yeah, that's James Franco for you. But moving off from the Super Bowl spot, my thoughts on it, fairly good spot. Again, I thought it was going to be a minute-long thing, so I was stupid, but whatever. But now we're going to move on to the 3.5-minute extended trailer. This is what I've been wanting to talk about all week, because this trailer, I'm just going to say it right now, I know I've said in the past, trailers need to be short, concise, to the point. I don't care about any of that with this trailer. This trailer made me fanboy so hard. I'm not even kidding. So, honestly, my general thoughts on this trailer, it's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic, and I have nothing bad to say about it. Thomas, go ahead. General thoughts on the 3.5-minute extended trailer.
My reaction during the whole thing was, oh my god, I need to go see this movie. Why can't May 2nd come here sooner?
Or why
that was all I was thinking.
Why can't you live in the UK and have it be April 18th?
Oh my god, I know, those lucky jerks. And they get all Marvel movies sooner. So they spoiled the Iron Man 3 plot twist for me like 2 weeks before the movie came out.
Yeah. But I'd say you like this trailer. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh my god, it was one of the best film marketing materials that I've ever seen for any film. And I think that up to this date, Man of Steel has had the best marketing for any film that I've seen, and then this trailer just tops that. So,
all right, James, overall thoughts on the extended trailer?
It's awesome again. I liked it. I like the origin part. I like it. I heard some people complain that it's like Batman Forever, the whole nerdy guy working at Oscorp with the bad haircut, and he has all the thousands of cut-up newspaper headlines of the superhero, and he's idolizing him, and then the superhero says something that makes him think, you betrayed me, and he becomes evil. But besides for that, it's awesome. I mean, I like the kind of origin they gave Electro here, where you do feel sympathy. Oh, I can't say the word right. Sorry. Today. You feel bad. Yeah, you feel bad for him. He's clearly this guy who, in a lot of ways, it's like how Peter Parker was in the original comic books. That guy who nobody paid attention to, who was just a nerd. And he feels a sense of Spider-Man. Oh, my girlfriend gave me a message. He felt a sense of Spider-Man, was the first person to acknowledge him. And then when you got that scene, he calls him Sparkles and can't remember his name. He's like, you betrayed me. You must die. That's kind of badass.
Yeah. It's this trailer. What can we say about it? It's absolutely fantastic. So let's just start digging into it right now. The first scene we get is a fairly epic scene between Peter and Aunt May, which basically says, she asks him, why are you doing laundry? The last time you did the laundry, you turned everything blue and red. And Peter's exact...
It's the American flag.
Because I was watching the American flag, my flag. No one washes a flag.
They do they're patriotic or something. I can't remember what he exactly said, but that was hilarious.
He's like, all right, laundry sheriff. It's absolutely fantastic, and the way it's like the look on Garfield's face was just absolutely priceless when he delivered that line. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I like how during that scene he's basically arguing with her. He's like, "No one washes a flag." He's like, "Not anymore. No one washes the flag." He's like, "All right, laundry sheriff."
That's very Peter Parker. That scene, I gotta say, the whole you're just scrambling to come up with a story to explain why they found a Spider-Man mask in your room. I mean, that's Peter Parker all the way.
It really is. But I gotta say, that scene, we saw it in the Comic-Con trailer, the leaked Comic-Con trailer, and it's still fantastic here because it's just awesome. It's probably one of my favorite excuses from Peter Parker for his double life I've ever heard. It probably is. It's really epic.
Washing the flag. I'm sorry, I just can't get over that.
I was washing the American flag, my flag. No one washes a flag. Not anymore. No one washes a flag. All right, laundry sheriff.
Exactly. Yeah, it definitely felt like the character that we have all been reading. So, definitely felt very Peter Parker.
Hasn't been the character we've been reading recently.
Oh, okay, all right. I meant like,
1962
the one that we've
to
wanted
2012.
to. Yeah, the one we've wanted to be reading.
Yeah.
Okay,
After
just imagine that scene with Spock. Can you imagine it? Peter, the last time you did the laundry, it turned out red and blue. Well, that's because I'm the superior person at doing laundry. I mean, okay, man. Oh, that was nothing ironic or really weird. Okay, Peter, you can do the laundry because you're so superior.
Yes. But the next scene we get in this trailer, basically Peter's sitting on the ledge saying, you know what it is I love about being Spider-Man, everything. And that's a concept I actually do want to get your guys' thoughts on because that's not something we see often from Peter Parker. Normally it's like, oh, my life is so hard, juggling this double life. But here he really likes his double life and he loves being Spider-Man. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well,
Very Spider-Man 3. Oh, sorry, man.
No, that's all right. I think this is actually very early on in his career, but I remember that he used to really like just like the escape of being Spider-Man. Just to, be able to be Spider-Man and then be Peter Parker, just the escape that Spider-Man gives him, and then, just the idea that he's gonna, during this movie, we're gonna see him just basically like lose everything, like his girlfriend that he chose to keep and be Spider-Man at the same time. And when he loses her, it's going to be that kind of thing where, should I really keep doing this? Because I'm hurting the ones closest to me. And my life does suck because I lost my girlfriend.
There's no doubt that that's where this movie's going because it's like, okay, we start the movie with him basically on top of the world. He loves his life. He loves everything about being Spider-Man. By the end of the movie, he's going to be crying, in his room in a fetal position. And it's like, well, not exactly that, but, at the end of the movie, he's going to have a very much more humbled view on everything.
It's going to be typical Peter Parker, the whole, I should have listened to Captain Stacy. Why didn't I? It's my fault. It's my fault. It's going to be like Peter Parker, pretty much. He's going to be, wow, finally, things are going my way. Girlfriend's dead.
That would suck. I mean...
Well, yeah, I think that's the whole point of it is basically to get back to that, Parker luck kind of thing. And I also think that a lot of people were really upset about him, not taking Captain Stacy's advice to stay away from his daughter. And then I would also like to point out that it doesn't take just Peter to not listen to her father. Gwen made the decision as well to stay with Peter.
Yeah. That's a very good point. That honestly is overlooked a lot. It's like, oh, Peter. Well, here's my argument against people who say, oh, it was so out of character for Peter to go back to Gwen like that. One, he's very early on in his career, so he doesn't have the amount of...
He's a teenager.
Exactly.
Teenagers do stupid things.
Yeah,
They don't listen to adults very well.
Exactly. It's like he doesn't have that sense of responsibility that he does when he's an adult. And second of all, Gwen made the decision too, so it's really not just Peter's fault. If I make any sense there, but...
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense, because I think that you would have a point if Peter basically forced Gwen back into the relationship and she's like, no, my dad's right, I shouldn't be with you if I'm gonna die, but she made the decision as well to stay with him.
Exactly.
And it's not like she didn't know.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, he basically, he already...
What?
What?
Oh, my mom's calling me, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's time for me to have dinner, so I might have to go, guys.
Damn, you always have to do that. But, shit, what was I saying now? God dang it.
Basically talking about it's not like that he didn't
I'm sorry,
he didn't let
dinner,
Gwen know
Sheriff.
about the... He didn't let Gwen know about the whole promise. She figured it out herself, and he did try to stay true to that. So it's not like he didn't go like, "Oh, I'm just not going to tell her that way. She won't know that I had to make a promise." No, she knew, and she was okay with breaking it as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much how it pretty much is. And look, it's not all Peter's fault. So people who are attacking Peter Parker for this, it really isn't all his doing, so it really is kind of unfair to attack him like that. And I just gotta say, that's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. I think this whole concept of him loving his life as Spider-Man is an interesting one. Not something we see very often, but it's an interesting thing, and I gotta say, I'm excited to see what it entails. I mean, obviously I know what it's going to entail, but still.
Yeah, I just feel like that it's going to be very much like, just like that classic idea of, I'm going to do the right thing, but I'm also going to get my way. And then the AV era even said that the movie's going to be basically about Peter having to deal with trying to choose two of them, and as we know in the adult world, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you have to pick one over the other.
He couldn't make the choice, but fate's going to make the choice for him.
Yeah, that's basically it. But next scene we get in here is Spider-Man saving Max Dillon. I just gotta say, he said he holds his hand up in front of his face and says, "Lick that." That's what she said.
Oh my God! What are you, 5? Are you 5?
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Okay.
I just said that because I knew it would piss Thomas off.
Like I said, that scene is that whole part with Dylan is very Batman Forever with the Riddler. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
Yeah, but I also think that like you kind of get the impression that when he says "You're my eyes and ears out here," he kind of says that to everybody. You kind of get the impression that he says that to everybody he saves.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I mean, because he just saves this random guy, and he's just like, "Yeah, you're my eyes and ears out here," and it's just like, okay, but it's like, I don't really, and this is something we'll talk about a little bit later, but I'm honestly, I mean, it is probably kind of in character for Max to think that Spider-Man actually meant that, but it's just like any normal person would just shrug that off.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but I think that Max was just looking for someone in his life that was, there for him and thought that he was worth something. And when Spider-Man basically gives that to him, he's going to feel really betrayed by the fact that he doesn't know who he is and that he had really no significance to him whatsoever. And so I think that on top of killing him because of that, he wants to make sure that everyone remembers who he is. Like in the Comic-Con trailer, we hear, "You're not going to be invisible ever again."
You will never be invisible again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's really what goes down there. And you know what? I did like this scene. I liked it a lot. I just had to bring up that joke just to piss Thomas off. But as we move along here in this trailer, we get basically a scene of Max and Gwen in the elevator. So it's ironic. The guy who says he's a no one gets to ride in the elevator with the hottest girl alive. which is...
Yeah.
Oh, I want to get your guys' thoughts on one thing real quick that I just thought of. People are... Because there's something moving in a... There's a shot of Spider-Man in front of some buildings.
I'm back.
There's something on one of these buildings that's moving. It kind of looks like a person. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Someone said that is Venom.
I don't think it's Venom.
Yeah, can we just call bullshit on that, please?
I think it might be Black Cat.
Oh, Felicity Jones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think it might be her breaking into Oscorp and then, trying to, infiltrating it and then basically changing into her, actual uniform at Oscorp. And then we'll basically get the idea that, hey, it is Black Cat. And she is working at Oscorp, just kind of infiltrating it to, steal something or something.
See, I didn't think this was anyone. I honestly don't think... I mean, it's so little, and it's just I don't know if it's anyone, but I honestly am not giving a damn thought to it. If it does turn out to be someone, cool, but if not, I don't care.
I think it's going to be in the middle of a transition. I think this will actually be after Rhino has stolen I think it's probably going to be the Oz serum from Oscorp, and Peter gets it back and gives it to the cops. I think that's going to be the shot of him just basically sitting up over the city, and then we're going to see a transition into Felicity Jones's character.
It's possible, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I could be wrong. It might actually just be someone who was there during the filming to record it from a different angle.
See, that's probably what I'm thinking it is, because I honestly don't think this is anyone. I really don't, but...
It could very well not be. I don't know. I'm just thinking that it could be. It's definitely a possibility. But I definitely don't think it's Venom. I think anyone is reading too much into that to say it's Venom. I think if you're going to think it's anyone, it's probably going to be someone who we think might be in it, like Felicia Hardy.
Yeah, but it's not going to be Venom. We're going to call bullshit on that right now.
Yeah,
Watch
I
it's Venom.
definitely agree.
Yeah, watch it be Venom, and then we're going to have to eat shit, but whatever. But
I know. Everyone's going to be coming back. Hey, remember when you said it wasn't Venom? Well, it is. Ha! And we're going to be like...
We're sorry. But
all I gotta say, it's a movie with three villains. One of them is Harry as a goblin, and if Venom's in here, I'm gonna call it is ripping off Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Yeah. But the next thing I really want to talk about with this trailer is I liked the kind of I don't know if this is irony or I don't know how you would describe this, but there's a scene of Peter saying, I like to think that Spider-Man gives people hope. It immediately switches to a scene of Max in his home, I'm assuming, saying, I wish I was like him. I was just like, that's convenient editing for you right there.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's always been kind of just this intention that Max looks up to him, and it's going to come back and bite him in the butt.
Oh, utterly.
Yeah.
All because he couldn't remember his name.
Well,
I don't think that's the only reason.
Yeah.
I think that there's actually some more that transpires in between there, because as we see after Gwen mouths the word Max, it fades out to black and then comes back. So I think there's actually some more stuff, more stuff that they talk to each other about before he blasts him into a car.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. I have an awesome theory on that. But then we get the origin of Electro here with Max falling into the pit of eels. Can I just say every single villain in these movies has created themselves? Because it's Max's own fault that he fell into that pit, because he was stupid enough to go up and just connect the thing together with no sort of protection at all.
I think it was always the intention to have all the villains create themselves, and I think that was basically what happened in the original, the comics and everything. I think all the villains basically create themselves in some way.
I'm not saying that this is bad or anything. It's just something I noticed. It's just I'm gonna go up there, no protection at all. It's just something I noticed.
I like it that they didn't go the comic book route, which was his friends dangling up there underneath the wire, and he's the only person who could take him down the power line, and he was pretty much being a jerk. I won't save him you pay me $100 or whatever it was. And then the guy finally gives in and pays him, and he goes up there, saves the guy, and then God's like, karma, bitch, lightning. I like it. That's at least different. It's not.
Well, I think that one would. It just reeks of '60s cheesiness, that origin. So I think you're gonna have to change it.
Yeah,
you're gonna do electro.
What worked in 1964 isn't necessarily going to work in 2014.
Exactly.
Especially since that was a comic book. This is a live-action film.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna need to change some things up. But yeah, basically, it looks like he kind of makes half of New York lose power when he does that, based on the next shot, which is actually kind of cool. But then you get him going to Times Square, and we see the shots from the New Year's Eve clip of him ripping the ground open and grasping at the wires.
Recharging himself.
Yes, recharging himself or whatever. And a lot of people, surprisingly, are talking about the music in this scene. What did you guys have any opinions on that? Because that's all I've seen regarding this scene.
I thought the music is really cool, actually.
Yeah,
I really like it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm like those people. I think it's the best part of that whole scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome theme. And apparently, someone from the movie, I don't remember who it was. Mark Webb confirmed that is actually part of the soundtrack, so a lot of people are happy about that now.
Yep. Yeah, he confirmed that it is part of it, and that Pharrell is the one doing the voiceover stuff, and that Hans Zimmer is the one that composed the music.
Yeah. But we get, basically, this scene is the first confrontation between Spider-Man and Electro. And Electro's like, you don't remember me? And Spider-Man's like, of course I remember you. You're my eyes and ears.
Which, again, I think is just further proof that he basically says that to everybody so that he can pretend like he knows him.
Yeah, and it's just like...
I got a true story about that. I went, a few years ago, I went with my friend Alyssa to a concert in town. We went to go see it. This band bragged about our city, about we love coming to small towns like you guys in high school, in college gymnasiums, because you guys are like the real clubs, like the real people that really pay their hard-earned money to come see us, not some big rich guy, sitting there with the tickets. You guys are really what rock and roll's all effing about and all that stuff. I go a week later to go see them again in Chicago with another friend, and he's saying the exact same things, only now with the reversal. We were in a small town, but nothing's like a big city.
Yeah, it's people like that are going to repeat themselves, honestly. Yeah. And it's just like I heard someone say on the internet, I won't name names, but I heard someone say they're like, "Oh, Spider-Man's being a dick here." Do you guys think Spider-Man's being a dick in this scene? Because I honestly don't think so.
I think he's being a little bit of one when he's like turning around and going like, what was it? I think it's kind of a little bit. But I feel like that's kind of what he does to everybody. That's
what I was gonna say. I was like, this is Spider-Man. To me, this scene didn't scream, "Oh, he's being a dick." To me, the way I interpreted it was, he's scared of this guy because he doesn't know what this guy's capable of. So to hide his fear, he's joking around with him.
Mm-hmm. I think he's what happened in the comic. I think he's not really trying to be a dick. I think he's just trying to joke around with him just to avoid the fear of dealing with anything.
Yeah. That's how I took it. So I don't think Spider-Man's being a bully or whatever.
No, I agree with you on that, because I think he says that a few times even in the comics too, where someone says, "Why do you always joke with these maniacs?" And he goes, "Well, it's that or pee my pants in fear," or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember what issue that was in, because there's so many. I
think it was an Ultimate. I think it was in my Ultimate trades. He says that to Mary Jane or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
it's in the Ultimate Volume 1 where he's like, "Why am I joking around with the giant monster that's in the school?" And he's like, "Well, I guess it's either that or I pee my tights."
Yeah, it's.
I got a little bit of the whole "he's a dick" sense, because it does come off as that. Because it's kind of like, yeah, of course I know you. You're my friend, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I know it, don't tell me. It's Max. Is it Max? Which was actually kind of funny. But whatever, That's Spider-Man humor for you, but You know,
and then it's like that moment where like you don't know the person's name, and then another friend says their name, and you're like, yeah, Brian. Of course I know Brian. Isn't it cool, Brian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely felt like that was very much that, and it really like there was this one line from Electro or Jamie Foxx where he says yes, like so relieved and everything about how he remembered his name. It breaks my heart for the character. It really did. That one scene.
It does. And then he's like, how could you forget me? You lied to me. No, I'm trying to help you. Let me help you. Boom!
Yeah. I definitely feel like that was very Spider-Man 2. It's like, here, let me help you. Let me just make sure that this doesn't turn into anything violent. And then, oh, I'm going to blow you into the back of a car.
And I felt like, did anyone else feel like when Spider-Man was kind of like looking up from, like right after he hit the car, he's looking up, he's on the ground, he's looking up. I just got the feeling that was going to be like the Avengers after Thor threw his hammer at Iron Man in the forest. He's like, okay.
I get the feeling that he's looking up, and he's kind of like, okay, you want to go? Let's go.
Let's go, buddy. That'd be funny. I'd love it if he just said, okay. That wasn't very nice. He just brushes himself off. That'd be sweet.
I just kind of got the feeling that he was looking up at him, and he's like, okay, you're asking for it.
You're going down, bro.
If I was Peter, the way I would have got out of that scene going, well, you are glowing blue skin in a hoodie in a dark, crowded area. Sorry if I don't recognize you right away.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, how is he supposed to recognize this guy?
Yeah. But I don't think it's just because he didn't recognize him, because I feel like the way that Max kind of gave the retort yes, I think he kind of believed that he remembered his name. So I don't think that's going to be the
utterly
problem.
Utterly, definitely. There's definitely part of this scene that we're missing. Definitely.
Yep.
But as we go on after that little scene there, we don't get too many new pieces of footage. We do get the Harry Peter thing of, Oscorp's had you under surveillance. We saw that in the first trailer, so nothing new there. We get the Doc Ock Vulture arms again. We get all of them. We get the scene of the 7 doors, Goblin in a little chamber thing. Harry saying we can literally change the world. I'm just kind of commentating on the trailer as it goes along on my iPad. But we do get one new shot of Electro and Harry together. And Electro says, let's go catch a spider. That basically confirms that Electro and Harry are going to team up in this film. So,
I had no surprise about that.
Yeah, I felt like we were going to get that. I feel like we knew that already.
Yeah. I honestly knew that, but it's just official confirmation on that. We see the Spider-Man dodging the Goblin, Gwen staring off into space.
The bridge. She's staring at the bridge.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. There's not really much else new in this trailer. Nothing is what I thought it was. We get that again.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get the final shot that we all want to talk about.
Peter screaming at the air.
Yeah, Peter screaming in what looks like a dark building. Peter screaming in agony. What is this? Is it the death of Gwen Stacy?
Yes.
Probably.
It's Gwen. Gwen's dead. I that's what I messaged on the comment. The second that photo, the screenshot of it, I'm like, yeah, she's dead. She is so dead. No, there's no question now. She's gone.
You can tell, and I think you even see a little bit of her head.
Yeah,
her hair.
Yeah. 7 Webheads, if you follow him, he actually posted a picture of a screenshot where you can see a little bit of blonde hair in Peter's lap.
Yeah, and he also did a video on it because I watch all his videos.
Yeah, so pretty much all signs are pointing to this as Gwen's death.
Yep. I'm definitely thinking it is. That's her real death right there, not the fake one.
Yeah, that's not the fake out. That's the real deal. That's Yeah, but other than that, there's really not much else new with this trailer. Again, we got the whole chimney what thing, but
at the end, yeah.
Yeah, but that's really it with this trailer. So final thoughts on the 3.5-minute extended trailer.
I thought it was extremely good marketing material. Although I could have done without like the last minute or so of it because it was just basically restating everything that we've already seen.
Well, I can see keeping some of those elements still in there because if somebody just by happen chance didn't see the other couple trailers, you're showing it to them. But the Aunt May scene, there's a part where a joke is funny when the first time you see it, but it's when the same joke is repeated over and over again. It gets enough of it. I get it. What
Yeah, we've seen that in 3 trailers so far. It's getting to be like the whole Spider-Man catching the car thing.
I think it's actually getting to the point where it's like the knife thing from the first movie.
Oh yeah,
where they overplayed that in the trailer. Like every single trailer had it. Yeah. And so by the time it got to the movie, it wasn't really that funny.
I actually like seeing that because I love Tobey's Spider-Man, but after him only having like one joke per movie, that one really confirmed. Okay, it's classic.
Okay, they weren't even that good either. Like the one with I'm the sheriff around these parts, that was lame.
Yeah, that was terrible.
And the only funny one I can remember is when the Goblin bombed the Daily Bugle, and then Spider-Man shows up, and Jonah's like, Spider-Man, I knew you two were in it together, and he webs up Jonah's face. He goes, "Hey, quiet, Jonah," or something. He says something like, "Quiet, Mommy and Daddy." Talking. Yeah. That was the only time I actually chuckled at any of Tobey's jokes.
Well, there was another one. There was another one with the "Here's your change" one.
I thought that Spider-Man 2. Right. That one was okay. Here's your change.
And then there's Doc Ock picks him up. He's like, "You're getting on my nerves," and Spider-Man's like, "I have a knack for that." That was
all right.
Yeah, that was.
Well, the Spider-Man 2 is the really only good Raimi film like that I remember that was actually like I can universally love altogether. And then the first one I liked well enough.
Yeah, and Thomas doesn't really like Spider-Man 3. That's been established on this show.
Yes, Spider-Man 3. I could go without that one.
I gotta admit, together. I got a confession to make, guys. I'm probably the only member of the whole Spider-Man fandom who actually liked Spider-Man 3.
Oh, I like Spider-Man 3.
Leave.
No, but I mean, I thought it was the best of the whole trilogy, or the Raimi trilogy.
Oh, no way, dude! It's the weakest, dude. I'm sorry, but I liked it, but it's the weakest of the trilogy.
Take that back.
Oh yeah. Well, third ones are always the weakest. The Dark Knight Rises was the weakest of the Batman trilogy.
Totally.
And then
Iron Man's the exception to that.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like the Avengers was actually bringing a fresh start to it. It was almost like it didn't belong in a trilogy.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 was fantastic.
Yeah. I would actually argue that the Iron Man 3 was better than the rest of the trilogy.
All right.
That was the best one.
James, I still think the first one's the best of the Iron Man, but this is not an Iron Man podcast, right?
James, did you give your final thoughts on the trailer? I honestly can't remember.
Which one?
The extended trailer?
No. Pretty much, I'll give it got a good grade, because the parts that we did see, I think they gave away a little bit too much with Electro's origin. Like, you almost have the full scene there. But, so maybe if they cut that a little bit to where it's more, you just see him climbing up the thing, and then the next shot's him already Electro, it leaves a little bit of mystery of, well, what happened to him? Here it's like, oh, he fell into a vat of eels while being electrocuted.
Yeah. They did basically spoil Electro's origin here, but I didn't really have.
We don't know how Green Goblin got his origin. Or
yeah,
Rhino.
Exactly.
So they still have two more villains.
I think they gave it in the first movie, though, his origin. I mean, the first trailer, where you see, I think it's Norman manipulating Harry to do it. Because you got that bed scene of him saying, "What about Peter, Dad?" And he goes,
"Yeah, but how does he get the equipment? How does he get the glider? What drives him so crazy to kill all the employees in Oscorp that he kills?"
Norman. He's doing it.
Yeah, but he's going to kill people in Oscorp because his dad said so.
I can see Harry Osborn, if it's wrote in well, being so much wanting his dad's approval that if his dad says go kill all the employees, he's going to go kill all the employees. Because I can see that Harry Osborn character, if it's written well enough, I can see them pulling that part off, or he just wants to do anything to please his dad.
Yeah, see, I don't know. You'd have to be pretty insane yourself in order to do that.
Well, he is an Osborn.
Yeah. They don't exactly have a clean track record.
That's a kind of an oxymoron. Well, you got to be insane to do all this stuff. Well, he is Harry Osborn.
Well, I mean, but I just feel like it's better if you give the character just some sort of other reason besides, oh, my daddy said so, to do something like that.
Yeah, but it's probably what they're going to go with.
Well, what if they do this?
I will actually be a little disappointed if that's all it is.
Wait a second. What if they do this? What if they say that his sickness, he manipulates Harry by telling him that he was poisoned by Peter's father, and by getting Peter, he's getting revenge for his dad?
Okay, well, that one I'd be more alright with. I just feel like it's a little weak just to have, like, his father just manipulate him.
But it's Harry and Norman, so in manipulating him, I can so see them doing it. And if it's written well, I can actually enjoy it.
Well, I guess it would, like, work well within the context of the story, but I'd be a little disappointed that would be all it is. Because I feel like we got the exact same thing in the last trilogy.
Yeah, but, you know. But other than that, my final thoughts on this trailer, it was fantastic. I really loved it, and I'm excited for this movie. You know I'm going to be here when it comes out.
First day, baby.
Yeah,
I saw every Spider-Man movie, except for the first one. I actually went with a group of friends from school in the 5th grade. Like, we went as a whole group, me and a bunch of guys with one of their moms. We all went. So we went like a week later. We went like a week later, but from Spider-Man 2 through Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, I've been there opening night, midnight.
I am going to have to. I might actually have to go see this midnight showing. Just take the next day off of school and just go to the midnight showing.
Oh, see, I don't have school on Friday, so
screw you.
There is nothing like going to see a movie, especially if it's a superhero movie, on a midnight premiere. It is the most fun experience you will ever have. Trust me.
Yes. But, shit, what was I going to say? Yeah, but that's really it for, all the trailers. So, now we move on to other news topics, because we still have more shit to talk about.
Dude, really? We've been on this for, like, 2 hours, but then again, we did have 3 episodes filmed.
Yeah, we did have 3 trailers. But, we got our first, regular news story this week. We only got 2 of these, thankfully. But B.J. Novak is going to be playing Alistair Smythe in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Mark Webb finally confirmed on Twitter via a tweet that said, almost shot ASM2 in B+W till at B.J. Novak's parentheses A Smythe promo for his excellent book One More Thing Beat Me to It. So basically, Mark Webb confirmed that B.J. Novak is going to be Alistair Smythe. So, James, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this revelation that B.J. Novak is going to be the young Smythe?
Spider Slayers? Like, it's not going to mean anything to me unless they're Spider Slayers.
Yeah.
Because if he's just a cameo, that's a waste of a character. If it's a one-off, like if it's Liz Allen in the school, like, oh, Liz is dating Flash. Hey, did you meet my girlfriend Liz? That's a different thing. But when it's a villain, don't just tease us with him. Show him.
Oh, I think that they're going to tease him and then they're going to introduce him later because it makes it easier for the filmmakers to just be like, hey, remember that one guy that we showed you? Yeah, he's a villain now. Alistair Smythe, I think, is actually going to be like the techie guy that makes probably all the equipment that Green Goblin uses.
Oh, God, that would be great. And you know what would be even more great, too? They could tie in the Spider Slayers by him having kind of like this robot army that insists is Harry. And you don't have to call them the Slayers, but any comic book fan knows it's Smythe. They're these little robot things that are bent to get Spider-Man. It's a Spider Slayer.
I think that's going to be the Amazing Spider-Man 3, quite honestly. Like, the Sinister Six, and then an army of robots.
That'd be pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, then he's definitely going to need to be in an Avengers movie because he's going to have so much good stuff. He's going to be like, oh, come on, Tony, can you come here? What, different film company? Oh, okay, I understand. Hey, Wolverine, can you you're also in a different movie company? God damn. Who's also with Sony? Just me now? Damn it, Parker Luck.
That'd be funny. But, yeah, so... Thomas, you think this is going to be Amazing Spider-Man 3 is where this is mainly going to go?
Oh, I think it... I was joking before when I said that it's going to be Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Army of Robots and Sinister Six.
Well, I know,
but it's plausible.
But you mentioned that you think he's going to go into the Amazing Spider-Man.
I absolutely think that he's going to be a recurring character until they actually bring him in. I think he'll be probably the Kurt Connors of the Mark Webb movies, rather than the Raimi ones, where they had Kurt Connors never become Lizard.
Which is sad, because I heard people go, well, they probably were saving it for 4, but anybody who listened to behind the scenes of that movie knows that, nope, it was Vulture and Black Cat.
Yeah, and Black Cat was supposed to be the Vultress.
Well, I heard it was going to be like a mix. Like in the beginning, she was going to be Black Cat, and then Vulture was going to recruit her to be the Vultress.
Well, Sam Raimi actually came out in an interview, I think last year, where he said that Anne Hathaway was actually going to be Black Cat, so...
Oh, okay. Then never mind.
I guess that Vulturish bullshit was really bullshit, which is good because that concept sounded absolute crap to me.
Yeah, it does. But it almost makes you kind of want to see that movie.
But you know what I always found funny about that? Anne Hathaway is cast as the Black Cat. Okay, she's playing Black Cat, a woman who's kind of a criminal, kind of an anti-hero. She has a thing with a superhero who she doesn't know who the secret identity or want to know it. And she's a bank robber with a cat motif. And this movie falls apart. So what does she do? She becomes Catwoman in Batman. The same role, basically.
Yeah, basically everyone's made that comparison.
It's like they called up Sam Raimi. So is there any people from Spider-Man 4? Well, we had Black Cat here, and we got some early footage of Anne Hathaway, how she would look. Can we use her for the new Batman movie? Sure, here you go.
Someone better use her.
Because everyone knows she can fill out a black leather suit.
Exactly.
We're done tonight. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, but my thoughts on B.J. Novak playing Alistair Smythe. It's cool. You know what? It's nice to have a little, Alistair Smythe in there, a little universe building. Established that this character exists. The question comes up, who would play Spencer Smythe, but you know what? I don't really care.
I think they might skip to that. If they're
I don't think he's been a big character ever since the first Spider Slayer.
Yeah, so... I mean, that was just a rhetorical question that I was just kind of throwing out. It's just like, oh, well, who would play Spencer Smythe? No one really cares because Alistair Smythe is the one that everyone really knows.
Yeah, and I feel like they might actually just shoot him like kind of like a reference. Oh, my father's worked at this company for 30 years or something like that.
That's probably what they'll do.
Yeah. Because, like you said, his dad, it's like, his dad was kind of wrote him really weird. Like, in the first Spider Slayer storyline, he just like, oh, I invented a robot and you can use it to kill Spider-Man. And then there's like 2 issues after that where he's actually helping Spider-Man with some tech things. And then after that, they like completely Stanley went, I got a better idea. He's a mad scientist!
Yeah. I mean, he
literally went from, I just built a robot to Jonah, who's also even helped Spider-Man. Hey, I'm sorry for that whole Spider Slayer thing, and here I'm going to help you to fight Multiman. And to being back to being, I'm a crazy mad scientist, Spider Slayer!
Yeah, and by the Marv Wolfman run, he's completely off his rocker. Mm-hmm. Like if he wasn't before, he was then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so we really don't have much to say about B.J. Novak playing Alistair Smythe. It's cool, but nothing really too special. But our final news topic of the day is that there is going to be a new senior editor for all Spider-Man comic books. According to an official press release by Marvel, Nick Lowe will become the new senior editor of all Spider-Man titles starting this month, so basically effective immediately. A little background on Mr. Lowe. He worked on, I think, some X-Men title and some other titles that I don't know about. So, basically, what are our thoughts on this? Thomas, you go first.
Good, I guess. Obviously there are plenty of people that really like Steve Wacker on the title.
Not really me.
But it'll be good to get some good blood in there. I mean, like, if we can't get some new creative team for the actual relaunch, then it'd be good to have a new editor that is just going to bring some fresh, like, ideas to the title in some way. So I'm for this news. I want some sort of creative change.
All right, James, your thoughts?
I'm happy about the change because I respect Steve Wacker for everything he did. Like, Because during Brand New Day, he got out during that era, he got out 100 issues in like 3 years. That's no easy task, and I give him all the credit in the world for being able to handle it. Plus his other Marvel jobs like Daredevil and stuff like that. But there's some stuff where personally, where you see him on the fan boards, where he was like Dan Slott, where he was just trolling and egging on people and picking fights on message boards when people didn't agree with something in the book. That stuff I don't really agree with him, but I do respect him for what he did, and he's going to do Marvel animation now. So he's not like he's going to have anything that's hurting him by not doing Spider-Man no more. He kind of moves up. So,
and hopefully he can bring Marvel animation out of its current phase of crappiness.
Impossible. With Jeff Loeb still being the top of it, it's impossible. No.
Or, even better, it's going to be exactly the same, but he's going to go on fan boards. No! Agents of Smash is the best cartoon ever! You're a troll! You are just haters!
Yeah, that's...
Because that's like the Marvel and DC thing nowadays. It used to be in the old days, people would write into Stan Lee saying, I really like this character, but I wish somebody else would have drew him. Well, we got our artists working here, and they're all pretty good. We're sorry about that. Hopefully you'll find another book you like just as well with this guy. I hope so. Nowadays it's like, yeah, I didn't really like this issue. You're haters, you just bash everything we do. We're telling you what to like.
Yeah, that's Marvel for you. But my thoughts on this news, you know what? It is good to get some fresh blood into the senior editor position for Spider-Man. I'm interested to see what he'll bring to the books, and maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. I'm gonna keep an open mind towards it. So, final thoughts on this topic, anybody?
It's good to get some new blood in there. Not much more to say than that.
It's an editor, and an editor's a important job with Marvel, I know, but the writer is still the guy who's coming up with the creative stuff. So I'm not going to get really excited about anything with the new editor, because if Dan Slott's still in there, we already kind of know what we can expect. There's not going to be that much changes just because there's a new guy above him, I think. I think Dan Slott has too much power in the Spider books.
Yeah, but that's just, you know what, we'll keep an open mind, and who knows, maybe the books will, take a big spike up in quality. All right, but that's really going to end the news topics for the day. So, still got one more thing to do. Don't worry, you two. You don't really have to do anything right now. I'm going to basically take over this. There's glare on my book.
You are such an egomaniac. Why do you even have us on here?
No, I'm kidding. No, did you listen to that solo show I did? That was horrible.
Yeah, I did, and I'm not gonna be ashamed to say it. I kind of laughed during it.
Dude, I swear to you, I'm never doing that again.
Well, it was like that with my Power Ranger podcast one day. Like, everybody pretty much dropped out on me in the last minute. It's for one guy, and he told me, "Yeah, I didn't watch the new episode yet." I'm like, "You son of a bitch." Okay, we're not gonna do the episode tonight. It's tomorrow now, because I'm not gonna just talk about something by myself while nobody else is here or didn't even pay attention.
Yeah. But today's classic issue review from me, Amazing Spider-Man number 8 is actually the issue I've chosen for today. First off, have either of you read this issue?
What issue?
Amazing Spider-Man number 8?
Yeah. I read the whole Steve Ditko and Ramita era.
All right, that's good.
I haven't read this one.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I actually quite like this issue. I feel that this issue is one that people overlook a lot. Some people describe the Living Brain, who's the villain in this issue, as kind of the forgotten Lee Ditko villain, and that's a perfectly accurate description, because I mean, who really talks about the Living Brain? I mean, people talk about people talk about Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, Lizard, all of them. They talk about them from the Ditko era, but we don't really talk about, the Living Brain. So I felt that this would be a good classic issue to review, just to sort of remind people that this issue exists. So basic synopsis of the issue. Flash and Peter their rivalry is kind of coming to a climax in this issue. Meanwhile, a scientist comes in and demonstrates a supercomputer that is apparently supposed to be stronger and smarter than any human or computer that has ever come before. The kids decide to ask it, what is Spider-Man's real identity? And Peter happens to be the one to get the slip with the code on it. So he manages to hide it and say, and he decides to say, oh, well, I lost the slip. Flash challenges Peter to a fight, which ultimately Peter ends up winning thanks to a punch delivered to Flash's head. Meanwhile, the living brain has gone basically maniacal because of two guys tampering with it. So Spider-Man goes to investigate, and basically the rest of the issue is just Spider-Man trying and failing to stop the living brain until he finally manages to shut it down after about 10 pages. That's a basic synopsis of the story. It's not very complex, but if I were to give this story a grade, I'd give it a B+. I really did enjoy it. I feel that this issue doesn't get a lot of the recognition that it deserves because it is a solid issue. I really do enjoy it. The Flash Peter rivalry is very entertaining to read. It's always interesting to read about. The boxing match that they have, yeah, it's 60s cheesiness, but it's still fun. It's well written, it's well drawn. It's fairly well done. Spider-Man versus the Living Brain, not really much we can say here. It showed Spider-Man in a fairly dire situation where pretty much everything he's trying is failing. And basically, this is kind of a trial and error fight for Spider-Man in which he's trying all of these different things to stop the Living Brain, and they all fail until one finally succeeds. So it really is kind of just a trial and error kind of fight. But it's actually fairly engaging, and it kept me interested the entire way through it. It's like, okay, is this going to be finally the thing that stops the living brain? Is this finally going to be it for it? And ultimately, it doesn't end up being that until about page 16, where he finally does stop the living brain. So ultimately, that was fairly good. The art in this issue, it's classic Ditko work, so of course, it's gorgeous. I love Ditko's art. It's absolutely fantastic. So I love the art in this issue. The plot itself, fairly good, fairly strong. So that's really it for the living brain part of the issue. B+ from me. And then there's a little side story in here of Spider-Man versus the Human Torch. There's not really much I can say about this. It's just kind of here. I won't give it a grade because honestly I don't even know what grade I would give it. But one thing of note that it is drawn by Jack Kirby. We know what kind of a guy Kirby was, but he did the art for this part of the issue, which I felt was kind of interesting. It looked all right. I don't like it as much as Ditko's art. I think Ditko's art looks a bit better, but Jack Kirby, he's a competent artist. His work looks fairly good. But that's basically Amazing Spider-Man number 8. I know that was a really quick classic review, but this podcast is going on about 2 hours long, and I'm tired.
Yeah. Can I quickly add 2 little things real quickly then?
Oh, yeah. I was actually just going to ask for everyone's thoughts on this issue.
Sorry then. I guess I jumped the gun.
So, James, go ahead. Any thoughts on Amazing Spider-Man number 8?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. One of the really cool parts I like about it, and almost like I don't even know if the Raimi movies did acknowledge it, but because Sam Raimi loved that era of Spider-Man, I wouldn't be surprised, is Peter when he fights Flash and he knocks him out. It's that moment where you think that finally he punched out the bully. Oh, finally, everything, he can finally relax, and he finally got it to punch that jerk, and the whole school hates him for it. He's literally damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he gets beat up by Flash, oh, he's Puny Parker, look at Flash kicked his ass. He punches Flash. Well, you must have cheated because there's no way you're better than Flash. Like, he literally couldn't win in that situation. And he does kind of get the last laugh near the end, though, where he says, well, Flash, you wanted to fight me when the living brain thing was going on, and you disappeared. Are you Spider-Man?
Yeah, that was nice. I really did enjoy that moment. That was a moment of Peter thinking on his feet a bit, making good out of a bad situation.
It's like, hey, Flash wasn't in the fight, too? Here's my payback for him. So, Flash, you weren't really there. You were making fun of the living brain, calling it a joke computer and all this stuff. Is it because you're really Spider-Man? Yeah, that's true. That's why Parker won the fight, because you didn't want us to know you were Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. But any other thoughts on this issue, James?
Just the backstory about why Kirby drew that little backstory is because after issue 1, and the Fantastic Four story, pretty much all the Fantastic Four letter pages, like a month afterwards, were all people complaining that Ditko ruined the Fantastic Four. So Stan Lee pretty much made it up to them by having Jack, pretty much any time that the Fantastic Four met Spider-Man, it was always Jack Kirby drawing it, with Ditko inking it or whatever.
Yeah, Ditko did ink this little backstory in the issue, so, yeah. But, Thomas, any thoughts on Amazing Number 8?
I haven't really read this issue, so I can't really say too much about it, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, never mind then. We won't edit that out, because that's just not
That's
worth
just
it.
the truth.
Yeah.
I haven't read it.
All right, but that's going to conclude this week's classic issue review. Amazing Number 8 gets a B+ from me. I actually quite enjoyed it. So that's going to conclude this long episode of the SpiderNerd podcast. We said last week that last week's episode was our longest episode to date, and we've managed to beat that with this episode. So we're at an hour and 51 minutes with the recording. We're all tired. And I got to leave for work in an hour. So,
and I got another 2-3 hour podcast to do in a couple hours. So I'm going to be busy, guys.
Have fun with that.
Trust me, I will.
Oh yeah, we're not denying we love doing this show. Honestly, this is one of the best parts of my week, and I'm pretty sure these guys would agree too.
Yep.
We love doing the show. So honestly, when it runs long, we aren't. The only bad thing about it is that our voices get tired. But honestly, we love talking about Spider-Man. James, any final words for the listeners before we sign off?
Just tune into my show tonight. We're going to be talking about the new Power Ranger season that's going to premiere, tomorrow night technically, because they're going to have a big sneak peek preview of the episode on Nick.com. So we're going to be talking about that. And we're going to be talking about today the new news about the season after that, Dino Charge. So tune into the show. I hope you guys enjoy it, please.
All right, Angel Grove Radio, a Power Rangers podcast. Just search that on iTunes. You'll find it. Thomas, any final words for the listeners before we sign off?
Just be sure to check out the SpiderNerd YouTube channel. I'm going to have a lot of cool stuff coming up here pretty soon. I got to make a few videos for it, but I'm still in the process of making them. But there's some pretty cool stuff that's going to be coming up, so be sure to check that out. And be sure to stay tuned here for all the news and reviews that we do on the site periodically. And, bye.
Yeah. All right. And my final words for the listeners, keep checking out SpiderNerd.com. We're actually getting close to, I just checked the stats a few minutes ago while someone else was talking. We've hit 10,100 hits. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. So keep the hits coming. I love it. Every time we get a hit, keep them coming. Just
that was all me probably rewinding the Gwen moment. Just keep on refreshing the Gwen moment.
Yeah, check out the YouTube channel, check out the site, keep subscribing to the podcast, leave us comments on iTunes, comments and ratings, we'll take them all to heart, and, yeah, that's basically it, so, we will see you guys, next week, so, see you later.